Welcome to the Polyverse. Tonight we have another amazing tale to open your eyes and expand your world. Before we begin, please subscribe and ring the bell to be notified for more great stories. The Polyverse presents Crater, an excerpt from Symbiote by D.L. Morris. Be sure to reward our writers and voice artists by liking and subscribing. It is, after all, our sustenance. Beneath the serene rotation of the night sky, Xavier Thomas traversed the I-90 West Corridor, well beyond Hershey, Nebraska. The vast expanse of the Great Plains stretched endlessly to every horizon, a landscape of unparalleled solitude. The sun, having long since retired, surrendered the day's oppressive heat to the chill and dampness of the night. For 6 years, Xavier had operated covertly for the CIA's Internal Affairs Division, amongst others, navigating a shadowy world of clandestine operations. The official title for this unofficial role was Contract Adjuster. All that really meant was that he fixed the problems that weren't quite as legit as they should be. His role demanded swift, solitary solutions to the agency's most delicate of problems, tasks that required a blend of strength, agility, intelligence, and ingenuity. This was a demanding position that required strength, agility, intelligence, and a bit of creative problem-solving. Despite the high stakes and toll it exacted, Xavier's unparalleled skills earned him the trust of his superiors, even leading to pursue rogue operatives when needed, even though he often sold his services to quite a few others when work was scarce. Recently, however, a mission had gone awry, leaving Xavier grappling with the fallout of a situation well beyond his control. Amidst the deafening silence of his handlers, he found himself grappling with the uncertainty of his circumstances, his mind swirling with thoughts of past successes and present frustrations. Government screw up? Like they would ever admit to that. Assignments that required his level of skill and assortment of skill sets, which was extensive, were few and far between, so it was not that unusual to not hear from his handlers for months at a time. But they could at least let him know just how pissed they were, which, if the silence was any indication, was a lot. Though he was a master of disguise, he still preferred his natural look. He was just shy of 6 foot, his dark hair had not been buzzed in a few weeks, and he wore a graphic tee with some tattered jeans. His other skills included in-depth knowledge of martial arts, firearms, locksmithing, mechanical fabrication, pneumatics, hydraulics, and the list goes on. "Oh, God, what was I supposed to think when they awarded that contract?" he sighed, once again going over the last op in his head. "They have to give me all the intel they can. I need to know their true objectives, including what they want safe, or I have to go with my standard tactic. Kill first and ask questions never. Gah! That's why they hired me and pay me to do all those things." For a moment, he was silent. The road and CD player was all that filled the air as he tried to calm himself again. Damn! What would I wouldn't give for a ninja death squad, or another Born to make disappear? He sighed to himself, reminiscing of past successful missions. I wonder if the Spetsnaz is hiring. The road stretched to the horizon on both ends. The flat grassland still filled his entire field of view, save the foothills that had begun to creep in from ahead. All around there was little to see, a few telephone poles, some cows, but no other cars. What else would you expect from the middle of the night in the middle of Nebraska? As he navigated the desolate road, and his weathered car, a relic from a bygone era, served as a testament to his nomadic lifestyle. Though worn and weathered, it remained steadfast, a faithful companion in his solitary endeavors. With practiced ease, Xavier replaced the spent CD in his CD player with the melodic strains of Van Halen, now serving as a balm to his restless soul. "Oh, God, I wonder what Bev and Byron are doing right now," he sighed. "I really hate this loner thing. Then again, the last time I tried to help her escape the Kremlin, that crazy bitch tried to blow me up and almost took me with her. How the hell did she survive?" Suddenly, the light sky was ripped apart by a light brighter than the sun wished it could be. In the blink of an eye, the blue-white tear enveloped everything. Lost in thought, Xavier's reverie was shattered by this blinding flash that tore through the night sky, illuminating the darkness with a brilliance that defied description. In the aftermath, the shockwave rippled through the air, sending Xavier's car careening off the road in a tumultuous whirl of chaos and confusion. With his bleeding out of control, he struggled to regain his sight. So profuse was the pain and tears, he barely noticed the buffeting of the vehicle threatening to go off-road. With tears streaming down his face, he finally got his sight back, just in time to witness the approach of another shockwave, which finished the job of flipping his car. The vehicle rolled end over end and side to side for what felt like forever, but as soon as it was stationary, Xavier cursed loudly in every language he knew. He could still not quite hear himself, though. He just stared out the windshield, panting deeply, shaken but undeterred, his senses heightened by the thrill of the unknown. With a sense of urgency coursing through his veins, he set out to investigate the source of the disturbance, guided by an insatiable curiosity and an unyielding determination to uncover the truth. "That was fucking awesome!" he finally decided after taking some time to catch his breath and collect his thoughts. "I have to know what that was." He smiled to himself as he shifted into gear to go off-roading in the direction the crater had come from. Juices flowing with the thrill of the hunt, his foot became lead. He barely noticed the buffeting as he zoomed towards the flash. Under normal circumstances, he would call any one of his cadre of handlers. This was a job for either the Skunks or H-83W, but since it seemed no one wanted to talk to him, welcome. Foothills were never neat. Rocks and bushes always made movement a pain in the butt. There was, however, evidence of a recent upheaval that happened recently. Smoke and other noxious fumes drifted around him, obscuring the distance in some kind of dreamscape, as he carefully made his way to the point he was certain held the source of the light show. Even a small object falling from space could result in a crater many miles in diameter, so he didn't expect any great find. He was just looking for the distraction, and maybe he could get some cool space rock. It would go great with the moonstone his uncle brought back from Apollo 18. Eventually, he came upon the crash site, the scene almost beyond comprehension. God, that ship's huge! Something that big should fit right the state! Oh, God, that means that the slow on retreat. That means something's still working on that thing. God! With each passing moment, Xavier's resolve grew stronger, his determination unwavering in the face of adversity. For in the heart of darkness, he found a beacon of hope, a chance to unlock the mysteries of the universe and forge a path forward into the unknown. And as he stood on the threshold of discovery, Xavier knew that his journey had only just begun. The crater was elongated and smoky. The craft itself was buried at one end. The ship was a long shaft with 8 fins equidistant from each other in the tail section. He carefully made his way down the strangely cool edge of the bowl, and was not long before he stood in awe a few meters away from the ship. "Oh, that thing is as big as a spruce goose," he marveled, "and it definitely ain't terrestrial." The craft's surface was perfectly smooth and cloudy gray in appearance. Without analysis, it was impossible to determine what it was made of. But one thing was clear. It was not a material known to man. Despite the forces it must have endured, this ceramic-like substance was not cracked, was not warped. It was not deformed in any way. While it was smooth as glass, there was no reflection of any kind. It was as matte could be. At first, there was no way to distinguish any features. The puzzle of how to get in tickled his consciousness as he painstakingly searched. Slowly, the sky spun, as he carefully examined every square millimeter he could. The inevitable march of time was the only thing that stirred as he mulled over the craft. It took forever, but he finally managed to distinguish a seam. The barely perceptible line only hinted at a hatch. As he looked over the possible entrance, a hexagon divided into 24 equilateral triangles dissolved into existence. Then it began flashing red. He could find no source to the light, which appeared to hover a centimeter above the surface. Carefully, he moved to touch it. The moment he brushed it, there was a hiss of equalizing pressure, and the panel was blown off. Holy crap! He put his heart back in his chest after barely avoiding the projectile. "Oh, so glad I haven't eaten in like 12 hours. After a moment to collect himself, he carefully, tentatively, hesitantly entered the craft. The bulkheads were buckled, decks were damaged, and overheads had collapsed. The ship would never fly again. The entrance was as one would expect in shambles. The walls, while constructed of some kind of ceramic material that resisted chipping, just slightly different than the outside, were gouged, bent, and deformed in ways he couldn't even comprehend. The closer he looked at the walls revealed more some kind of organometallic ceramic structure, with a crystalline structure inlaid in a complex pattern. This suggested that the walls could, in addition to being structure, be conduits for communication and/or power. Despite the chaos and destruction that surrounded him, Xavier pressed on, driven by the unrelenting thirst for discovery. As he ventured deeply into the bowels of the ship, he encountered a world unlike any he had ever known, a realm of wonder and peril, where every shadow held secrets and every step brought him closer to the truth. Within the walls he found no wires or cables of any kind. Instead, there were tubes that looked like biological entrails. The substance inside was some kind of viscous, gooey stuff that surprisingly had no smell. He was not willing to taste it. Most of the lights were broken and leaked a similar goo. The few lights that were functioning emitted an organic light that was bright but not harsh. After a quick study of this quarterdeck, making notes on a pad he always kept in his back pocket, he moved on towards the ship's interior. As he walked, the halls seemed to go up and down in random ways, like he was alternately climbing hills and going down valleys, except the hall was perfectly straight. "Oh gosh, artificial gravity must be on the fritz," he groaned as the floor turned into a sheer cliff. At least he found the passages were arrayed in a nearly logical pattern. Combat loadouts, decon stations, and a storage for whatever crew could need for interplanetary exploration. As large as the ship was, there should be bodies littering the passages, but there was a distinct lack of them in any of the corridors. "This is like a darker and more awesome wonderland," he smiled to himself. "Huh, it gets curiouser and curiouser. I wonder where the white rabbit is. Or maybe he's a black bunny." As he delved deeper into the dark land of wonder, the damage became less severe. It appeared that the mass of the ship had protected the more essential areas. "Oh, what do we have here?" he asked himself as he happened upon the body. The cadaver was mangled, almost beyond recognition, but it was clearly not human, as he expected. It bore a resemblance to some kind of insect, a mantis even. It was brownish green, it had forearms that were long, thin, and multi-jointed, and no clear sign of opposable thumbs. It also had 2 legs and compound eyes. "This just wasn't your day, was it, buddy?" "Definitely had better days," he muttered to the lifeless form as a wry smile turned the corner of lips. Shadows danced across the walls as lights continued to attempt to force the darkness away and the odd occasional spark. The corridors were in shambles. There was no easy path anywhere. Despite the size of the vessel, Xavier was unable to find any other sign of the crew. "Where the hell is everybody else?" he asked himself, entering a room at random. "There should be some kind of crew, unless that guy was some kind of a hitchhiker on a drone or something." Near the middle of the craft, he entered a room that could be best described as a medical ward. All along the sides, beds or exam tables stood ready for patients or experiments. Tools of all kinds that could only be medical or scientific littered the space. Some were damaged and some were not. It was plain to see that the dynamic gravity was at play here too. "So this is where the probing takes place," he chuckled as he sorted through the mess. He avoided the areas where the gravity could be problematic and carefully looked for something useful. Many of the cabinets and drawers were open, some were jammed shut, although one appeared locked. "There has to be something cool in here," he mused as he rifled through the cabinets and drawers, his keen eyes scanning for hidden treasures. As shadows danced across the walls and sparks flickered in the darkness, Xavier passed on, his curiosity undiminished by the eerie surroundings. Despite the chaos and destruction that surrounded him, he remained determined to unravel the mysteries of the vessel. His efforts were soon rewarded when he stumbled across a locked compartment. Xavier set about unlocking the mystery, his fingers working deftly by the mechanism. On a table behind him, or perhaps it was in front of him, behind him, the gravity was unclear. A small, clear box contained an ostracized egg. Due to the differential gravity, it was also above him. The ship moaned as something settled. Soon he had success with the latch, and the egg cracked ominously. A clear discharge issued from the egg, followed by a thick slug. As the ship lurched again, the slug fell on him. Caught off guard by the sudden assault, Xavier found himself immobilized, the creature's tendrils burrowing into his consciousness with alarming speed. As the ship lurched beneath him, Xavier's mind raced with the realization that he was facing a threat unlike anything he had encountered before. With his senses reeling and his fate hanging in the balance, Xavier knew that he would need to summon every ounce of his courage and resourcefulness to confront the perilous challenges that lay ahead, for in the heart of darkness he would find strength to overcome no matter the cost. "Crap! I can't move!" he thought. "Oh no, something dropped on me! It's falling on my brain!" Thank you for listening. We hope you enjoyed our amazing tale. If you haven't already, please like, share, and subscribe for more great adventures from the Polyverse.